And then there was one team left at the top of college football. And unfortunately for the locals here in the state of Alabama, it was not the Crimson Tide. We will get in there and break down all of everything that you want to know about the national championship game last night. Plus, we will preview the wild card weekend of the NFL because, once again, football is not over. We just moved to the pros now. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we get you guys thoroughly involved in what happened last night for Alabama on this edition of 3rd and 3.
Hey, it's Jacqueline from the CTS-Sports room, coming to you from my car. Because it's Christmas time, and my house is full of people, and I told them I was going grocery shopping, but really, I just needed a break. So I downloaded this new app that we just partnered with. It's SuperDraft Pro. It is the future of fantasy sports. And you can play for cash, prizes, and experiences that money can't buy. Like the peace and quiet I'm getting right now. You can play for free, or you can get their non-gambling subscription. Either way, you can still win cash and prizes. If you want more information, my friend Kyle Murray is going to tell you about it.
It's not easy being the fastest quarterback you've never seen. I'll be right back. There's no quicker way to get into DFS. Play Super Draft today and see for yourself.
SuperDraft Pro and Caesars Entertainment are bringing you the future of fantasy sports. So, if you want to play like a champion or need a break from the family, download SuperDraft Pro today. Play like a champion. Information will be in the link below.
Well, I'm channeling my inner Joey tonight, and as you can see, I've got an actually upgrade from the $100 blinds back there and the blank wall. But once again, welcome inside another edition of 3rd and 3. I am your host, Stephen Ray, and unfortunately, Joey is not going to be able to make it, shocker. However, he does feel like that he has caught the thing. So hopefully our thoughts and prayers are definitely with you, Joey, and hopefully you will get better. However, you do not have to listen to me for the entire show, as I'm actually about to bring in my co-host here, one of my co-hosts, and he actually has a show right here on the CTS called One More Sanchez. It is a boxing show. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only One More Sanchez, Jesse Sanchez, who I will remind you is a Gig'em, Texas A&M fan. Buddy, Jesse, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Good. I love that intro. I felt like I was in the boxing ring. You're about to announce me.
Yes, sir. And now, Jesse Sanchez. How was that?
It was perfect. Where's Joey at?
I know, man. I don't know, but I'm channeling my inner Joey with the glasses and the hat, and you see that the hat is actually the one of the people that won the national championship. How about those dogs last night?
I'm glad they got one. That was a good game last night, especially towards the end.
So anyway, all right. Well, are you ready to bring in our other guest here on the show? Because it's not just going to be us two, because it is 3rd and 3. So we've got to have 3 co-hosts.
Yeah, I'm excited. He's me and him are Vikings fans, so Skol Vikings. I'm excited.
All right. So without further ado, let me go ahead and pull up Tyler. And I'm not sure how to say your last name, but nonetheless, we will bring you in here, Tyler. How are you doing tonight, sir? And let me remind everybody, the guy right down there is the lone Alabama fan on the show tonight. How are you feeling 24 hours after the loss?
You know, when we lost against Clemson a couple of years ago, I was a lot more devastated. And when we lost against LSU, that was kind of heartbreaking. This year, going in, I think the team kind of overperformed. So I wasn't even pretty much every impact player on the team, sophomore or freshman. And, I am kind of happy for Kirby. I like Kirby Smart a lot. He seems like a genuinely nice guy. And so, besides the barking at people in public thing, which I'm going to have to endure for a year, happy for Georgia. But, yeah, I got my little Vikings guy over here. I'm a little offended, Sting. I thought we were friends. I thought you'd know how to say my name by now. But it's okay.
How do you pronounce your last name?
I'm not helping you out. You got to try it.
I have no idea, and I'm not butchering.
No. I guarantee you I've heard worse. Go for it. Do your best.
Okay.
Pfizer Bryce is what I'm going to say.
Pfizer.
Shibish. Just like it's spelled.
Oh,
Shibish. Awesome, man. Yeah. That's awesome. So, let's go on ahead and get right to it. Sanchez, you said that you actually had something to say about Joey. What are your thoughts about Joey not being here tonight?
I think Joey needs to the case that he caught was sore loser. Like when A&M won, he wasn't here. And that was the next day, and then he's not here today. I just say, hey man, we all lose. We all got to take it. So just as much as you talk trash about winning, we're going to talk about you.
So, and really, honestly, our previous co-host, who is still a member of the CTS, Clemson Tom, Clemson lost, 3 or 4 games this year? And every single time Clemson Tom's team lost, Joey talked crap. However, Clemson Tom always showed up and took it in stride, and well. Speaking of Clemson Tom, ladies and gentlemen, here he is with his return to say a few things about Alabama and about Joey losing and not being here tonight. Tom, how are you doing, sir?
Where's Joey?
We don't know, man. We have no idea.
Man.
I'm here in his place.
Really?
Yeah, no, I'll be the punching bag for Alabama tonight.
Unbelievable. I come on here to congratulate him on a great season, even though he lost. And the man can't even show his face after a loss?
And he did this against
he no-called, no-showed?
Texas A&M Aggies right over there, bro.
So he no-called, no-showed on the show?
Yes.
No, he called at least. He got me to take his place to be the punching bag.
Oh, man. Well, y'all be nice to him if he comes on later. He's probably hurting.
Nah, I hope he feels better.
Poor fella. Well, all right, I'm going to go back inside. I came on here to congratulate him. This is ludicrous. This is a catastrophe.
What were your thoughts on the game, real quick, Tom?
Honestly, I thought it was a really good game. I really liked how the coaches at the end of the game, shook hands and Saban goes, you really kicked our ass in the fourth quarter. Yeah. And Kirby just goes, how's your receiver doing? How is he hurt? And he mentioned my name, and you could tell it was a lot of respect. And I think we need that more on camera nowadays more than anything else. Right. And I absolutely loved it. I thought it was really cool on both sides. You could see a lot of mutual respect between the two. And Georgia needed it. I mean, if they would have lost this game, man, I might have quit my job and became a therapist in Athens because they would have needed it. Because good Lord. So good for that fan base. I know they've got some crazy fans, but we all do. They just have more of them. But I thought, honestly, it was a damn good game.
Well, Tom, look, man, thank you so much for joining us real quick. And we want to wish you and Xander the best of luck in golf. And we will see you this fall, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
See you soon, man.
Dude, it's always awesome when Clemson Tom shows up to talk his trash.
Man, I was kind of disappointed. I was whole time I've been preparing to just get relentlessly pummeled down. I have receipts. I'm ready against you two if you try to say anything. I got my stats up for Mississippi State and Texas A&M right now.
Right.
I was prepared, and it's been respectful.
Well, I mean, honestly, though, how was Alabama supposed to beat Georgia without Job in the game, without Mechie, and then losing Jamison Williams, which it was just reported before we came on that it is unfortunately a torn ACL. So our thoughts and prayers are definitely with Jamison Williams as he tries to get back to full strength and full speed for season number 2 next year in 2022. But guys, honestly, when you take away Mechie and you take away the other guy, Williams, basically all you're left with is Young, Robinson, and Slade Bolden. And honestly, I really was watching a little bit, about the wide receivers, and Hall is a great receiver, and he's going to be a great receiver. But guys, you can't throw him into the fire with him not being ready and him just be ready to play. I know it's the next man up, but next man up in the national championship game against Georgia, that's a different story, my friend. Okay, so Hall is going to be good and all of the other wide receivers, but when you take away Mechie and Jamison Williams for Alabama, yikes.
So sorry if I look distracted. I just got an email from Preston Dial saying he actually has a work function and won't be able to make it anymore. Okay. So I know Matt Cadell is still, he hasn't said no yet, but Preston unfortunately won't be joining us tonight.
Okay.
So best of luck to his, whatever work function he's got going on. And
okay.
Thanks for agreeing originally. But yeah, I mean, Mechie and Williams together, that's 2,700 yards of production this year. And you said next season for Williams, I think he still goes to the draft. I think some team will take him in the first round just based on potential. So I think he's gone. I think Mechie has more of a chance of staying.
Right.
But yeah, lots of people were really hard on Ajay Hall last night. And
yes,
I was hyping him up. I was saying like he's going to have a breakout game when he had to come in. He made a few plays when he actually caught the ball, but it seemed like every time he would get like a 30-yard catch and then drop it a wide open pass the next time.
Yes.
But the one thing that's good about him is he seems to have humbled himself a little bit over the season. I don't know, because you guys aren't Bama fans, how much you follow like Bama Twitter, but he was tweeting all season. He was in Nick Saban's doghouse publicly. He was liking tweets that were saying like you should transfer and all this. And he was very like, he was liking a bunch of tweets saying, why are we playing Slade Bolden over this guy? Like, why isn't like disparaging his teammates? But after the game, he did tweet again, but he said, I'm so sorry, Bama Nation. I'll be back better next year. So he seems to have kind of bought into the process, and I think that that's a good thing for his future because he has so much potential.
And I will say this too. I don't know if anybody else saw this, but from Adam Rittenberg, who's been on the CTS before, Paul Tyson and Billingsley, the tight end, have both entered the transfer portal. So that is going to be huge for Alabama moving forward because they lose a tight end in Billingsley.
Weirdly enough, I think that neither of those two are actually the biggest name that entered the transfer portal today. Drew Sanders, he was a linebacker, and he was starting a couple of games after Christopher Allen got hurt, and then he also got hurt, and freshman Dallas Turner came in, and Dallas Turner won like SEC freshman defensive player of the year or something like that, I think. And so he just kind of that's a big hit to production, but I understand why the guy wouldn't want to be a rotation player behind Will Anderson and Dallas Turner. So.
Well, guys, let's flip it and talk about the Georgia Bulldogs, the winners who finally got over the Alabama hurdle. And honestly, you gotta feel good. I know that some Bama fans don't feel this way, but I think all of America has to feel good for a guy like Stetson Bennett. a guy who was a walk-on, left Georgia, came back, got a scholarship, and then all these 5 stars either transferred in or were recruited. He went down to the bottom of the depth chart and had to work his way back up, and not only work his way into a starting role, but he also had to cut out the noise of the Georgia nation, who did not even want him to be the starting quarterback. And now he is what I would like to call a Georgia legend, from going from a walk-on to a national champion. Guys, your thoughts on Stetson Bennett's journey and his play last night in the championship game?
You know,
I mean, he
go
showed.
ahead. Sorry.
He showed everything he had in the playoffs. You know, against Michigan again last night. I think his hard work, dedication got him where he's at. You know, that's just a true factor that he just was dedicated and went forward. And again, I'm glad that they won. You know,
Yes.
Being in the SEC, I think it's the best division. So
Right.
it was a good game. It was balanced each way.
Yeah.
And of course, you can't argue about the Georgia defense. They made adjustments from round number 1 in Atlanta. They flustered Bryce Young, and they got him to throw some arid passes. And even though they did not get to him on the pick 6, all of the previous ones got in his head a little bit, and he air melded over the wide receiver right into the guy's hands. Because if you go back and you watch that replay, he was extended up there trying to catch it, and it was even above his hands. So that all of that was just a little mental test, and unfortunately for Alabama, it did not go well for Bryce Young, the Heisman Trophy winner, in round number 2.
Yeah. I mean, I caught some flack for saying this, especially from some of CTS's very own, like Joe Will and Clack. But I said on the last drive, Bryce Young kind of lost the game for the team. I mean, I'm not saying he was the reason we lost the game. He played about as well as he could, maybe even like exceeded expectations. But that last drive, 3 plays in a row to end the game, instead of going for a first down with like 50 seconds left and a timeout, he tried to go for like a boom or bust touchdown play. And then the third time he threw it a triple covered and got picked.
Yeah.
Like, he played incredibly for what he had all game. He probably had like 10 combined drops from his receivers. But that last drive, I just don't know why he wouldn't try to drive down the field more methodically. Like, you can, especially in college football where the clock stops every time you get a first down, 50 seconds is an eternity to get like 40 yards. So I don't know. But I did want to say about Stetson Bennett, I had a question for you guys. You know what they call the worst starting quarterback to ever win a national championship?
Vince Young?
They call him a national champion. That's exactly what Stetson Bennett is.
Yes.
Who cares? People were trying to say, oh, he's not that good. Doesn't matter. He won. You always get to say he's the guy that broke the curse.
So I got something I want to talk about as well about this. In the semifinals, Brian Robinson had a huge game against Cincinnati. Where was Brian Robinson in crunch time last night, Bill O'Brien? Because, that play where he got them off their own goal line and ran for like 24 yards or so, and then he never touched the ball again for the rest of the football game. You would think without the wide receivers, you would say, okay, let's line up and let's play Alabama football, because at times they were actually able to run the ball against Georgia's defense. Guys, that play calling of not doing Robinson, that lies on Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien is one of the worst offensive coordinators I've seen Alabama have in quite a while. I mean, the last couple of years, you're used to their offense being great, and he's he's so bad that he made the Alabama fan base, who is very stubborn in their views, completely forget about Pete Golding.
Yeah.
And to Pete Golding's credit, the last 2 years, the defense has actually been really solid. Don't tell people that, though. They will not like it. But, yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I think the biggest things that lost Alabama the game, inexperience, just they had a lot of young players that weren't ready. I'm not going to say injuries. I mean, every team has to deal with injuries. Alabama fans especially gave Ohio State a lot of crap last year for claiming, like, oh, if we had Trey Sermon, if we had all these other players and stuff. Like, yeah, they played 6 less games last year than us, but still, injuries happen. I'm not going to claim injuries. It's just inexperience for the younger players. Mm-hmm. But then Bill O'Brien, I think, was a close second with, like, play calling. It's just, you know, he had a game plan, I think, for Jamison Williams to be heavily involved, and he did not adjust at all, and that led to their downfall.
Okay. Let me just finish the Brian Robinson debate with this.
Okay.
Against Cincinnati, 26 carries, 204 yards. Last night, 22 carries, 68. And no touchdowns. And so you've got to question Bill O'Brien not going back to Nick Saban football, run the ball, and play good defense. So, and, you know, a lot of people after, and especially after Saban loses in the national championship, everybody starts to wonder, and the age-old question comes up, is the Alabama dynasty over, or is it cracking? I want your guys' thoughts on that.
It's definitely cracking. I think that A&M's on the rise. LSU is going to bounce back next year. So I think Alabama had its time. You know, they always will be good and they always will be solid, but someone else's turn, and I think it's going to be Jimbo next year.
Tyler?
I think that the last time someone said something like that, Alabama won the national championship the next year. So until Nick Saban has 2 or 3 even seasons in a row where they disappoint, like, he just made the national championship with maybe his worst team to ever make the national championship. I'm not in any worry right now of Nick Saban being, like, washed or out of it or anything. I think they're still going to be a contender next year. And like I said, once I see it for, like, 2 to 3 seasons in a row of them underachieving, then I'll believe it. But until then, I mean, A&M is going to be good next year. And I think LSU, I'm not sure how I feel about Brian Kelly. I think that he is a little overrated, in my opinion. Yeah. He got a lot of wins playing against a bunch of nobodies, and that kind of... So we'll see how he does in the SEC. And then also, like, didn't he immediately lose a bunch of recruits when he trained and, like, didn't try to keep all the recruits they had? Like, he didn't even talk to them.
Right.
So that does not inspire a lot of confidence for me. But Texas A&M's really good. And Jimbo was the first assistant to beat Nick Saban. He wasn't the only assistant to beat Nick Saban now, but he was the first.
Well, guys, I want to apologize to all of the other fan bases out there. But my honest opinion is Bama's not going anywhere. And you want to know why? Look at the recruiting classes that Alabama's had over the past 3 seasons. If they still have a top 5 recruiting class, they can beat anybody at any time on any given day. So Alabama will not be going anywhere. However, I do think, sorry, Clemson Tom, if you're watching this, I think your Georgia Bulldogs and Kirby Smart for the next 2 to 3 years are going to take the step that Clemson did. And I think we very well could see Alabama, Georgia in the national championship either again or a third time before somebody else can step up and dethrone the SEC in the championship game. Because that Georgia team is loaded.
The only thing about that like, so you look at Alabama this year, they made the national championship game with a bunch of freshmen playing. Georgia was incredible. They were definitely the best team all year. but most of their like big name players and playmakers were seniors, right? So they're losing a lot of people or to like the draft. I mean, you think of everyone that made their team what they are, right? They had Big Jordan Davis, he's gone. N'Kobe Dean, he's gone. They had the safety, I can't remember his name, that he's gone to the draft. Quay Walker's gone. So that like, and I could there's a couple more too. So over half their defense is gone, and it's just hard to tell really if they'll be as dominant next year. And especially with Dan Lanning leaving their DC, going to Oregon as the head coach. Same reason I don't think Clemson is going to be as good next year. I think Brent Venables kind of carried them for a while, and he's gone now. So we'll see.
What do you think, Sanchez?
I don't see Georgia going again in the playoffs. I think it's going to be a sleeper like maybe Florida. I mean, just throw it right now on top of my head. Someone
A&M?
that we don't expect.
Billy Nate.
A&M?
I don't know. A&M has a tough schedule. I
Right.
wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Jimbo's been recruiting out his butt. You know, he's been.
I mean, you have Ole Miss. I mean, it's just it's going to be good. I don't know. You know, but you're right. Alabama is always a contender. You know, you can never count them out ever.
Man.
Okay, so let me also ask you this. Even though Kirby won the national championship game last night, he got over the hurdle. Where would you guys put Kirby right now as one of the best coaches coaching right now? Is Kirby right now up there with Saban and Dabo and Ryan Day? I don't think so, because
No.
I don't think one national championship win guarantees you that.
No.
I don't know. I think he's similar to a Dabo level. This is kind of a hot take because Dabo did beat Alabama twice, but I think that, like I said, I think Brett Venables was a huge reason. And like you look at Clemson, and the difference to me between Clemson and Alabama every year when they were meeting up every year is every year Alabama's coordinators got poached or left to go get like another head coaching job or something. Clemson stayed the same with their coordinators pretty much the entire time. For some reason, Venables didn't get a chance till this year. And I mean, it's remained to be seen. I'll put Dabo over Kirby Smart if he can have success this year without Brett Venables. But it kind of reminds me of like LSU with Joe Brady leaving. Coordinators are huge in college football. I mean, like we were saying with Bill O'Brien.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what time was Matt Caddell supposed to join us?
Around 6:20-ish. I sent him an email, but I haven't heard anything back. So.
Okay, because it's 6:30.
Yeah.
So,
well,
what do y'all want to do? Y'all want to just go on to the NFL, or
yeah, we can just talk until he joins or not. Hopefully he joins, but we'll see.
Well, guys, I want to flip back before the national championship game. What was your favorite or the most exciting bowl game for you guys?
I don't know. Most exciting bowl game. What was wasn't there one that went to a bunch of overtimes? I can't remember exactly what it was. Let me look at the list real quick. You caught me off guard.
Yeah.
For me, actually, honestly, I think seeing Georgia beat Michigan that bad made me go into the national championship and say they actually have a chance. So that was a good statement for them to go with. So I would say that game.
Right. Now, the Rose Bowl game was a barn burner, guys. That game was amazing between Ohio State and Utah. And I really hoped that Utah was going to win that game because that was their first trip to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I think that must have been the one I was thinking of because I remember that being super. Like I was checking Twitter all day, like watching the highlights and stuff, and every time I check, it'd be like, "Oh, Ohio State scored," and then Utah scored, like ran the kickoff back for a touchdown, and like it was just punches back and forth all night. And I think, side note, CJ Stroud is going to be very, very good. He's going to be a problem. But until an Ohio State quarterback does something in the NFL, I don't know how much you can wait to the next level, but he's going to be a problem in college at least for years to come.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, the SEC took even though they won the national championship, they took a major hit in the bowl season. So I need to ask y'all this. With the SEC, are they still the most dominant conference outside of the championship in the country?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think people were overrating a little bit like what was happening with the SEC. I mean, you look at all the games that were like losses early. It was it was like the bottom tier SEC teams against like some better competition from other conferences, and a lot of players like opted out for those teams as well. Like, I mean, Ole Miss, for example, got smoked by Baylor, but Matt Corral didn't opt out. I guess that's an awful example.
No, he got hurt.
Yeah, so just don't listen to me ever.
I mean, you had in the beginning of the season, like you said, you had Arkansas beating the Texas, who supposedly was supposed to be good, and that opened eyes. You had Colorado almost beating A&M when Heinz King got hurt. So college football, you just never know. But the SEC, no.
Okay. So staying with the playoffs, because this is a huge discussion right now. Should we expand to 8 or no?
Yes.
I'm going to disagree because of what happened between Alabama and Cincinnati. I don't think Cincinnati belonged yet. So with that and the non-automatic qualifier being able to go to the playoffs, I think you're going to see more of this blowouts until you get to the national championship.
Yeah, I mean the argument against, right, is that I think 16 of like the 18 games they've played in the playoffs so far have been like more than 2 possession games.
Mm-hmm.
And that will happen more, but I think the only way you'll see more upsets is by adding more and more teams. Like, because you think about it, if there's 8 teams, right, that's 4 games with a chance to upset instead of 2 every year. So you literally have twice the amount of chance to have crazy upsets and stuff. I think I like the idea of letting teams that have played well like get their shot, right? Like Notre Dame, regardless of how you think of them, they had a really good record this year. So, and like, would they have fared better against Alabama? Who's to say? But with an expanded playoff, you could see exactly that, right? Like,
Yeah, I think we all saw that Cincinnati game coming.
Oh, yeah.
We knew it was Final Four.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's obvious that Matt Goodell and Preston Dial are not going to join us tonight. We do apologize for that, but we can't control what they do. So we do apologize once again for that. However, would you guys like to go on to the other topics that we have for tonight? Now, football is not officially over yet. We just have to move to the pro side of things. We are now going into right now, next weekend, the wild card rounds. Are you guys surprised that we have made it this far so soon?
Yes, there was a moment where I thought, there was going to be a lot of games stopped, playoffs were going to be moved. So the fact that we were able to have a national championship and now moving to the playoffs is a good feeling.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of weird because like some of the rules have been a little more like lax almost this year. I mean, like last year they made the Denver Broncos play with like a literal wide receiver at quarterback.
Right.
But this year, like several times they extended some of the games or like moved them. I think we had like Tuesday night games at one point because of it. So it's kind of, I feel bad for the Broncos because
it was scary to see the A&M game get canceled and then the Hawaii game get canceled. And it was just like, what's going to happen? And, there was a couple of days. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go on ahead and break down the wild card series. The first game on the 15th is going to be at 3:30 Central on NBC. The Las Vegas Raiders at Cincinnati. Now, the Football Power Index gives Cincinnati a 67% chance to win, and Cincinnati is a 5.5-point favorite. Who do y'all like?
I like Cincinnati. I mean, they've been they've had a couple like weird games. The Bungles are going to bungle. I mean, they have the same record the Raiders and the Bengals do, but Joe Burrow, he's the truth. I wasn't sure after 1 year at LSU. Like, he kind of had a middling career and then went off 1 year. That always worries me a little bit. And it's same with like Kenny Pickett this year from Pitt. But he just has it. You know, you watch him play. He has the swag. He has the leadership. He's a really good, like, accurate quarterback. And like, he led the league in interceptions at one point, or leads the league in interceptions, but it doesn't matter when you're putting up 500 yards and like 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I think I like the Bengals offense, and also Jamar Chase was a slam dunk of a pick. People weren't sure, but it's been so good.
I'm
going for
going
the sleeper.
Huh?
I'm going for the Raiders. I think that they're going to pull this one off real close. I just think they're just hot right now. Like you said, I think Burrow's first playoff game, I don't think there's going to be a lot of misplays, the noise, the atmosphere. But I think the Raiders might pull this out. That's my favorite.
I'm actually going with Joey Burrow and Cincinnati here. All right, the next one on Saturday is going to be at 7:15 p.m. Central on CBS. It is going to be Mac Jones and the New England Patriots going to Buffalo to take on the Buffalo Bills. Both teams come into this game with a pretty good record. Now, the Football Power Index gives Buffalo a 62% chance to win, and they are favored by 4. Can they get it done at home?
Go ahead.
No, I think it's Belichick. Belichick is the Saban of NFL. No.
You don't think so? I mean, I as much as it pains me, right? I hate it. I'm a huge Mac Jones fan. I think the Bills are going to win. They matched up twice this year. The Patriots won one game when there was like 30-mile-per-hour wind and Mac Jones attempted 3 passes. They won 14-10 that game, and then the Bills won like 31-22. I think the next time they met up, or 33-21. There you go. I think Josh Allen. You know, Mac Jones is really good, but he's a rookie. Josh Allen was an MVP candidate for a reason, and Stephon Diggs is very good, and both teams have pretty good defenses. I mean, it's just I got to go Buffalo, especially because they're home. I think that's going to play a factor. So,
have you guys seen the weather for this game?
Is it going to be snowy?
Y'all want to guess the temperature in New York for the game time that night?
5 degrees. I was so close.
4 degrees, guys. I'm going Buffalo in that one.
You're going Buffalo? All right.
I'm going Buffalo.
Okay.
All right, so we move to Sunday. At noon on Sunday, Philadelphia, coming off the loss to the Cowboys, travel down south to Tampa Bay to take on Tom Brady. I'll start this one. It is on Fox. Tampa Bay is an 8-point favorite. Give me Tom Brady all day long.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can't put any stock into the Eagles' loss this last week. They were resting pretty much everyone they could because they couldn't really affect their seeding that much. I think they could have been the 6th seed instead of the 7th seed if they won and like the other team lost. But they're starting Gardner Minshew. They were starting pretty much a practice squad defense. So that being said, I still think the Buccaneers are just a better all-around team. I mean, poor Richard Sherman got placed on IR today, but he wasn't really doing much for them anyway. I kind of forgot he was on the team until I saw he was on IR. But despite all the injuries to wide receiver, I think that might come in play later down the road, like against a better team. But I think the Eagles are, they're a wild card. They're a wild card team for a reason. I don't think they have the juice to beat Tom Brady and the reigning champs.
I'm with
All
you.
right.
Same thing.
What now?
No, I said that Tom Brady's going to win. I'm with him.
All right.
Hard to bet against Brady.
Yeah.
All right. The 3:30 game on Sunday on CBS is San Francisco traveling to Dallas to take on Dak. The Football Power Index gives Dallas a 64% chance to win, and Dallas is a 3-point favorite. You know where I'm going with this. Give me the Dak attack. Moving on to the next round and the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, future Vikings head coach Kellen Moore is going to lead a great offense. So I think, side note, that's my dream candidate. I don't know how you feel, but I really like him. I mean, he's young. He brings a great mind to the game. He's offensive. I mean, he's like 30-something years old. And so someone like that is my ideal coach. And I think, it shows the Cowboys are leading the league in yards per game and like points per game this year. So they had a weak stretch, but they've been pretty good all year. And I think that the 49ers have been questionable, and I've never been a big Jimmy Garoppolo guy. So, give me Dallas.
On paper, Dallas looks good, but I think Cowboys are going to be Cowboys, and they're going to lose it. They're going to find some way to lose it. In overtime, it's going to be – I'm going for the 49ers. But that's just as a fan, I want them to win. Just because I'm not a Cowboys fan.
All right, next game is going to be Pittsburgh at Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes. Guys, this one could be a really, really good sneaky game right here. Kansas City is a 12-point favorite. How can you go against Mahomes in the playoffs? I'm going with Kansas City.
In my dreams, the Steelers weren't even in this game. My lifelong ambition, my goal, my dream was that both the Raiders and the Chargers would just kneel the ball for 60 minutes, but they didn't. And somehow, at the very end, they still could have tied it until the Raiders kicked a field goal. But, this is going to be Big Ben's last game. I hope he has a good one, but they're just not that good. I mean, the Vikings beat them, and that's saying something this year. We weren't great. Kansas City's a lot better. Steelers defense is good, but Kansas City, I think, is a lot better than people are giving them credit this year. Like, people are saying, are the Chiefs done? But, they have the second best record, or they're tied for best record in the AFC.
No, they're hot right now. Yeah.
Who do you like? Sanchez?
Kansas City. Okay.
All right. And the last wild card game is next Monday night, a week from yesterday. And it's going to be on ABC or ESPN at 7:15. It is the Rams of Los Angeles hosting Cliff Kingsbury and our friend to the CTS, Kyler Murray. All right. Let me pull this back up. The Rams are a 4-point favorite at home. However, I'm actually going with Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray moving on to the second round.
That's interesting. I don't know. I don't think it's completely unfounded, though, right? The Rams have been kind of up and down. Matt Stafford's been throwing a lot of picks.
Yes.
I don't think it's – I'm still picking the Rams. The Rams are my preseason favorite to win the Super Bowl, but I don't think the Cardinals winning is a completely crazy thought.
It's definitely the best playoff game of the week. I'm same thing. I think that the Rams just have a better player. Odell's there, Stafford's there, Von Miller's there, so they just look better on paper. And it's the playoff time, so especially it's the first playoff game in that new stadium. You got to keep that in mind. So look at that crowd.
Well, guys, we've got one more thing to talk about tonight. And in about an hour and 13 minutes from right now, in Tuscaloosa, Alabama tries to get the bad taste out of their mouth from last night on the hardwood as they host fourth-ranked Auburn, who comes into this game 14-1. This is the Iron Bowl on the hardwood. Guys, are you liking Alabama or Auburn?
I do not have confidence in Alabama to win this one. Auburn's really good this year, and Alabama's been kind of shaky. Like, they're definitely not as good as last year, and I think people just need to accept that. Losing Herb Jones was huge, but I think Auburn's going to win. Unfortunately, it pains me to say, but I'm just being realistic. I'm not an Auburn fan, as some would say, for me picking a different team, but
Yeah, I think Auburn's going to win, and pretty big.
I will surprise you guys, though. The Basketball Power Index likes the home team by 54%, and Vegas likes Alabama by a 3-pointer. I'm still going with Auburn, though. But I am surprised. I am surprised that a 14-1 team, number 4 in the country, is an underdog on the road. I am surprised about that. Are you?
So what is, like, so in the NFL, right? Home advantage is like 3 points in Vegas. What is it in basketball? Do you know?
Not sure.
Because I feel like 3 points would be about home advantage, right? Like, maybe a little bit more. So they're saying it's basically an even game, which, I could accept. Weird things always happen in Alabama-Auburn games.
Yes.
But Auburn's been dominant. They've been the best team in the SEC.
Well, let me just go ahead and turn it over now to my good friend right down there. Taylor, tell everybody what is coming on your show on Thursday night when you guys show back up on the CTS for the 2 hours of Bama content.
Yeah, so first at 6 p.m. Central, we got Rolling with the Tide, me and maybe Joey. He's sick, but I have a feeling he might miraculously be healthy for that. Yes. So, we'll be on there talking about the national championship game in a safe space for him. He called me a little bit ago, but I'm not answering while we're doing a show.
Right.
He, he's doing his thing. I hope he feels better. And then after that, 7 p.m. Central, we got Bama Brigade. Me and Joe, Will, and Clack are going to talk about Bama sports. Hopefully they've recovered by then. Yeah. Bama Brigade.
Right up there. Yep. There's the Bama Brigade thing. So, yep.
But hopefully, they'll feel better. I know they were both taking the loss kind of harder than I was. So, we'll have a lot to talk about. And then we'll have to make the transition to non-football related like Bama sports, which is pretty interesting.
And then.
Yep. Softball is huge for.
Yeah.
So, and gymnastics is in season. I mean, we got our butts kicked by Oklahoma, but Oklahoma's like a dynasty in gymnastics, so you can't even be mad.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for this edition of 3rd and 3. I do apologize once again for no guests. However, I will give both of you guys one more opportunity to say one last thing before we sign off, and we're going to start with Sanchez.
Joey, I just want to let you know, I hope next football season you can come up to the shows and not be a sore loser. That's all we ask. Talk all your trash, but also take those L's.
Yeah.
Tyler, what you got, man?
Congrats to Georgia. Good job. I think people are mad and they shouldn't be. It was a good, clean game. And I'm looking forward to talking about it on Thursday with several people who might disagree. So we'll see how that goes. Sorry about the guests. It was my job to schedule them. One of them emailed us saying he couldn't be here, and then we haven't heard back from the other. But it is what it is.
Yes.
So hopefully they can be on in the future.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for this edition of 3rd and 3. We hope that you have enjoyed it. Tune in right here, once again, right here on the CTS on Thursday night at 6 for Rolling with the Tide, and then the Bama Brigade right after that. Guys, remember to feel like a champion when you are watching the CTS Sports Run.
Hey, it's Jacqueline from the CTS Sports Room, coming to you from my car. Because it's Christmas time, and my house is full of people, and I told them I was going grocery shopping, but really, I just needed a break. So I downloaded this new app that we just partnered with. It's SuperDraft Pro. It is the future of fantasy sports. And you can play for cash, prizes, and experiences that money can't buy. Like the peace and quiet I'm getting right now. You can play for free, or you can get their non-gambling subscription. Either way, you can still win cash and prizes. If you want more information, my friend Kyle Murray is going to tell you about it.
It's not easy being the fastest quarterback you've never seen. I'll be right back. There's no quicker way to get into DFS. Play Super Draft today and see for yourself.
SuperDraft Pro and Caesars Entertainment are bringing you the future of fantasy sports. So, if you want to play like a champion or need a break from the family, download SuperDraft Pro today. Play like a champion. Information will be in the link below.